Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and lowest of men that are unable to be here tonight. I am your voice Whistly, and I'm here to talk to you today about the 6 show, 6 show, which we definitely get wrong every time. I am, luckily enough, hosting tonight instead of the lovely Tom Lohman, who is off, I think, fighting polar bears. I can't remember what he was going to. I think it was that. But I'm here to present. I'm a host, but I'm lucky because it's not just me. I am here with three absolute wonderful, amazing Palousas who are going to here to talk to you about the chapter approved changes, along with some other little bits and bobs. But first of all, let's get into those guests I just mentioned. So let's talk first about the green background, lovely new haircut, looking super fresh. John Scrivens. How are you doing, John?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Apart from I don't know how to use a razor. I learnt that yesterday. A beard trimmer. If you don't put the kind of the clipper on it properly, it cuts it really short. Which is why I don't have a beard anymore.
Ah, I see. I see.
Embarrassing.
You are looking. I have to say, you're looking good, mate. You're looking young. You're looking fresh.
It's all AI. That's why
Yeah.
I keep slating AI because I actually use it to make me look better on camera. Yeah.
Man, you're like a real life Warhammer fantasy. Like you were old, it was decrepit, and now you're back, fresh, new.
I am Sigma. Skibbity
Wait, what?
toilet.
Oh, your background changed color when you did that. That was really weird.
Challenging a Sigma.
Yeah. Haha.
Lightning happens at the same time. Perfect.
Amazing. Oh, cool. Right. So we've got lovely John. John, anything else going on in your life at the moment?
I'm still painting World Eaters. I might finally actually finish a unit by Christmas, but yeah.
And which
Otherwise-
detachment are you fancying, John? Which one is it? What you're loving about World Eaters?
So Gore Track's what I'm going to try first before I finish painting stuff, just because it sounds fun. But I feel like Berserker's probably where I'm going to end up finding a home, like everyone else.
It's exactly the journey I went on.
And I'll do the
Yeah.
demon one when I finally have enough demon princes to mess around with and like bloodthirsters and shite. So
Yeah, man, absolutely. The Gortrak one's a lot of fun. We did this. We did a battle on stream on Jack's wonderful TTS show, which you can find in the back catalogue of this very channel. It was my Gortrak World Eaters versus Rob's Eldar something or other nonsense. I believe it's called the detachment. Aspectos nonsense.
Which hilariously is the least bullshit of all the Eldari detachments.
Sea Council.
The account second for bullshit.
Mm.
But yeah. Oh, we'll go and watch that. But no, good to see you on World Eaters, John, and hopefully we'll get you painted up and we can get you some tournament play, man. Next up, we have the wonderful Jack Chap, man. How you doing, Jack? You okay?
Fucking prick.
demonetized.
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I've been helped some people move house. I moved in. I'm in my new office. So I've
Very
just
fancy.
been moving furniture for the past. Well, that's how I spent my bank holiday weekend. Obviously, you were there, well, and listener land and what viewer land can't tell because it's a backdrop. But I rest assured, I am in a new office. Yeah, I've just been looking for excuses to do hobby required for tournaments in between doing that. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
You have a tournament this weekend, right?
Yes, I do. I'm doing Peterborough Slam this weekend with the old Tau. I have decided to use it as an exercise in playing around secondaries. I'm going to try and get several 100-point games. I think that's very unlikely.
That guy in America did it. Didn't even break a sweat, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it basically is going to be all around aggressively redrawing secondaries, which I've been, again, this is the thing that I've been on for several weeks. People are probably sick of hearing me talk about it at this point, but I still want to try it in a tournament setting.
Oh, is this the Church of Seven that you've created?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Church of Eight,
explain
actually.
to everyone the Church of Seven.
8, actually, but yeah.
8, sorry, 8.
Yeah, so basically, if you don't draw cards enough to score 8, you redraw one of them. Which you may think it's crazy, because you may have like a 3-point card and a 4-point card, and you say, well, I'm going to redraw that 3-point card. and I know it seems really counterintuitive. Even dropping like a 2-point card is something that people normally wouldn't do, but it does work. It seems like it shouldn't work, and it seems really counterintuitive. It's like training yourself to just do it anyway, even if it doesn't seem like a good idea, because the maths will come through for you. The randomness will come through for you. And even though it doesn't feel like it does, that's kind of where I'm at the moment, which is why I've taken Retaliation Cadre to this tournament, because it's the worst town attachment. Now you may think that is counterintuitive. It's because it doesn't have any good stratagems other than the Torch Star Gambit to move a second time after you've shot.
Yeah.
So you can spend all your CP on redrawing secondaries and not feeling bad because you don't have any good strats to spend them on anyway.
This logic is sound.
Exactly. It seems crazy at first front, but then it works.
Is this a cry for help, Jack?
No,
Because that's what I'm reading here.
You need to like play another army but Tau. Is this what we're saying? Like,
No.
if one of your main strategies redrawing.
If I come back 0-5 after this weekend, then sure, by all means, I may not be on next week. But until that happens, I'm telling you, I'm a genius.
It's going to be great content for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
If he wins, I'm joking.
I'm gonna try and do an event report. No promises, but I've got like a new video format I want to try, and I want to give it a go. So the problem is, all of the practice games I've had up to this point, I've drawn really, really good secondaries, and I haven't had to redraw any. So I don't actually know if the strategy works in practice. But
lucky scrub.
I know this is the only downside. Is sometimes you just roll secondaries too hard, and you can't demonstrate the theory. But yeah, so going to that, the event is kind of a crazy mix in terms of factions that are going. 25% of the field is Death Guard.
That's meant 1 in 4 armies are
it's something like 4 Orcs, 4 Necrons, and then me and a bunch of Space Marines, and that's the field. It's a really crazy mix of stuff. But yeah.
Garage.
Luckily, I think Tau are pretty well placed to deal with Death Guard. I mean, it's not a good matchup, right? Because, of course, it's not. But I think they're well placed. The stuff that Tau does is like effective against the sort of stuff that Death Guard want to do. So
Yeah,
that seems
awesome
to me.
Very good, man. I'm excited to see that, man. And I've clipped, by the way, when you said Tau is Death Guard are a good matchup for Tau. I think no, I do actually. I think from one person in our team said I suggested like, so what? Anyone got any plans to beat Death Guard? And he said, yeah, just stand really far away and shoot them. How?
Yeah, see, just have 70 range, bro.
Finally, we have the wonderful, beautiful man that is Ed Watts. Ed Watts, how are you, sir?
I am great, thank you, sir. How the devil are we? How are you, Dave? You've asked us. But how are you?
Oh, thank you very much, mate. I'm all right. I'm actually bricking myself. I've got my final tournament game tomorrow. And all the stars are aligned to absolutely screw me. If I lose tomorrow, I get relegated. No, I don't get relegated. I don't get promoted.
Get stuck. Get stuck.
Yeah. We can talk about it.
Nice.
And of course, it's against Tyranids as well. So I should really know how to beat Tyranids, but we will find out.
Yeah.
We will find out. But Ed, how are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, man. Well, sorry. I was love talking about you, David. And I'm all right, thanks, man. I'm good. I'm just basically on a journey of painting Space Wolves right now, and I'm pretty excited about that. The new armor box has just come out. I'm going to order 2 of them, which is beautiful. Well, I'll order 2 of them, which is going to be great. And I'm hoping to be getting those painted up pretty sharpish. But I'm also running an event over the weekend, which is exciting. So
what event is that, Ed?
War of the Roses. So we've got 6 teams. So we've got Team Scotland come down, Mind Goblins, and a few of the local teams as well from the MOD lot. And they're all a great bunch of guys. So they're going to be fighting over my 5 lot weapons I'll be bringing with me, which are all going to be lovely and orky, which is going to be really fun. But also there's only 2 Death Guard players out of the 6 teams that are going. So that's interesting. So there just seems to be like quite a varied mix in between. A few Custodes, a few Death Guard, a lot of Space Marines, obviously. There's always going to be a Space Marines player somewhere. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. And I've actually managed to finish my Greater Greatness video, which is one of the things I've been working on for a while. So I've managed to do it. I've managed to give you guys an update. I've got some photos. and that'll be released tomorrow, which is going to be exciting.
Amazing. So check the channel back tomorrow, guys, if you want to see Ed's Space Wolf adventure kick off and get underway. I'm very excited to see how this Space Wolf adventure goes, man. So a lot of the stuff in the chat has been very spicy, which is very exciting.
I love Space Wolves, right? The new book looks very fun, and I'm very excited to be taking them to an event as soon as I'm allowed to. So it's going to be fun.
Absolutely. Other content we have this week, Jack, you have a show again on Thursday, right?
Yeah, we got TTS. Fight Night is back on Thursday. We're doing new Death Guard into GSC.
Who's on GSC?
Me.
Oh, you're playing GSC? Oh, sick. Nice. Which detachment?
I'm currently torn. Between my favourite, which is Host of Ascension, and there's a really cool Outlander Claw build that I've seen, and I would quite like to try that as well. I'm not sure which one I want to try. So I'm still working it out.
Outlander Claw's cool, man. Like, it sounds so cool.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know, guys, that's all the vehicle one, right?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds cool when two GSC, like people who play GSC, are talking about it. But then from the outside, it's like, I have 8 indirect pieces. This is the game.
Very cool. All right, well, let's quickly go to the wall to see what people are saying in the chat. Very kindly, Sam Dungan said, "Oh shit, it's Swissley." Thank you very much. That's very kind. Someone knows my internet name. I like it. What else we got? We got Go For It Painting. Hello. We've got Zeroed store-bought hot crisp levels of hot. I love it. I'm excited as well, Zeroed. It is an interesting pack. I'm holding my opinion back. I know that other people on this show, this guy down here, that guy over there, and that guy there, have opinions, and they want to share them with you. We've got John Chavez with a question. Oh, let's hold this one for later. I'll come back to it, John. What else do? We have here greetings from Hungary from Go For It Painting. Hello. You might know our friend Fristo, who is also on Team Hungary. Aaron Drew, lovely man in the chat, who has chucked us a £1.99, which I believe was the price of John's haircut, a super chat. That is amazing. So, I mean, that is wonderful. Thank you, Aaron. We'll send that directly to the child's barber. Sorry, I'm only kidding.
Yeah, it's all right. Your child will get paid for this haircut. Well done.
I've got a hat that is hiding my hair, so don't worry. We've got Anthony McHugh. I've been playing tier council list and redraw secondaries every time I'm scoring less than 3 on a card, unless I have a plan to all in. He's on the Church of 8. I think he's a perfect specimen for the Church of 8.
I mean, it's cool when I do it because I'm not playing Eldar, but you know, it's like, I mean, tier council is strat to free. Like, what do you have to like?
Yeah, you redraw just because you have 1,000 CP a turn, right? It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm staying quiet. Asriel's in the corner just going, shh, don't tell them.
I'm glad you're on board with my plan as well.
Indeed. All right, cool. So we are going to switch to another view, which I've tried really hard to make this work. If it collapses at any point during the show, guys, I apologize. But fingers crossed. Here we go. All right, we're here, and it worked. It's not fell to bits. All right, we've got a few things that we want to go through before we hit the main piece, but quickly to go through these. King of the Ping Spring Ding Dong Championship, which is our online Discord league that I run for the channel, came to its climax, is the right word, and it was won by our very own Captain Caveman Paul James, who fought his way to the final and won. So he is our champion. He's come close in the past, and he actually took the championship this time. So really well done to Paul. Round of applause, everyone. Round of applause. Well done.
He rolled 4 ups. Yeah.
He rolled 4 ups. Let's go. All right. So, of course, so well done to Paul. But this is the 3rd King of the Ping we've done, and we've really enjoyed doing them. But I'm really keen to make them better every time. And we've done 3 now, so I've had loads of learnings. Each one of the wonderful fine people below me has participated in King of the Ping, as well as myself. But we have a new and improved version. So I asked for a bit of feedback from the people that took part in King of the Ping, and these are some of the feedback they give me. So the good was essentially getting to play new opponents all the time, which is really nice, meeting new people. We all love doing that. That's why I play this hobby and not computer games as much. The relaxed nature of the league is really cool, apparently, so that's really nice. Really nice to hear people having a really chill time. And you get the opportunity to play against really good players, which is really cool. Obviously, not in the league I was in. So then, I obviously asked, what was the bad things? Well, the dropout rate is pretty stark. We saw a lot of people just drop out or couldn't arrange games. So arranging games was a bit of a nightmare if someone just couldn't win and then couldn't be asked to participate. And of course, the event was over too soon because you might only play 3 games and then get knocked out. What people would like to see is more losers brackets, more winners, getting promoted into some kind of other league or something. So we're working on that. And then more games or diverse opponents. So what I mean by that is that people wanted to play more games throughout the season, but also get to play more different people. Well, ladies and gentlemen, might I introduce you to the new King of the Pin Super League? Oh, hang on, I've got noises that I can go here. That probably was. So this guy is going to be a rotating league format. We'll have more information about how this works moving forward. But essentially, whenever you participate, you're essentially playing, and your more games you win, the higher your position will be in the next season when the league kicks off. So you might be in Division 3, or if you might be in Division 1 the next season. So continuously.
You're just cutting out a bit there, Davey. Your mic's.
Oh, was I?
Yeah,
okay. Sorry, the magical sparkle must have thrown away the internet. So it'll be a rotating league format. I won't go too much into it, but it's essentially, if you do really well in whichever league you're in, you'll be then promoted to different leagues moving forward. And then you get to move around. Relegation isn't the end of the world. You'll just get moved into a different league with other people that got relegated, and it's really fun. So yeah, it's going to be really great. The diversity of opponents will be really, really good as well. You'll get 12 weeks to play 7 games. So each person that participates will play nearly more than double the amount of games they usually play, which is great. And we're going to do an overall league so that you get more points. That if you play in every single league, your sportsmanship scores will be counted, which is really cool. I know John's a big fan of that. And the games that you win also will go into an amalgamated score, where at the end, someone will be crowned the season or the full year champion, and they will win a prize, which is yet to be decided. So that's how it is. If you are interested, submissions to enter the league opened yesterday and are now live on our Discord. If you want to enter, this is dead easy. All you do is sign up as a member at any level, and this is via YouTube. So you can do the lowest member, you can do the highest member and get wonderful coaching and things like that. Then you join our Discord. The link's in the description, and I'm sure John will kick me under the table if I don't tell you that you need to link your YouTube to your Discord to make that work. And then you fill in the form that's on the King of the Pin section, and then I will inform you of what league you're going to be in and everything else. Super easy, and you get to play with our wonderful community of players. It's really cool. I would love to see you there. Right, there you go. That's it out of the way. Guys, who's excited about Chapter Approved 2025?
I'm
2026.
so excited.
So excited. Topline thoughts, guys. What do we think? John, how do you feel? How are you feeling about the new Chapter Approved?
I'm glad it's not named after a part of the galaxy. That was the first thing that made me excited, because we started recycling the names now. So it's like Pariah Nexus, Chapman, Vigilus. I'm glad it's just not named Armageddon or something. It's like, cool. I'm bored of that now. So just being actually functionally labelled that it is a yearly pack got me really excited, because it's just clear and concise.
Okay, cool. Ruin one of my questions for later. That's no problem.
Got him.
Jack, how are you feeling? Top line.
That
face is positive, right?
Cautiously optimistic. I think there's a lot of room to kind of abuse the cards. Like if there's a skill, like a knowledge gap between the players, that one person can end up feeling really bad. But overall, I'm happy with it, especially since I wasn't the biggest fan of Pariah Nexus to begin with.
All right. And Ed, how are you feeling?
I'm going to go cautiously optimistic as well, to be fair. From what I've looked at so far and what the games I've watched, it looks pretty good. I like it, but I haven't seen too much in the way of... I've also seen some of the new cards being in effect when you're losing, or the free strats and stuff, and that seems okay. It doesn't seem to be as daft as I thought it would be originally. So, yeah. Yeah, so I
Yeah, I
actually
thought
think
it was going to be nuts, but it seems
Yeah.
it seems reasonable. It seems reasonable. But before guys, hold your horses. Before we start talking about chapter approved, I'm going to ask you 7 questions, and I need you to write them down, and I'll read out the answers. We're going to be super quick with this, but this is a quiz. You don't have to write down. You can just remember if you want. I trust
Can't
you.
remember shit.
All right.
I was gonna Google the
Question
answer.
number 1, and guys, play at home. Play at home. I'm going to skip the first question because John, I think, pointed this out. So we're going to go to question number 2. But essentially, the first question was, what is the new chapter approved called? Oh, Ed doesn't know.
I know.
All right. What is the new chapter approved called? We're going to keep that question in because Ed doesn't know it. All right. He's Googling it as we speak. Right.
I'm getting notes up. So
Getting
I'm gonna write
notes.
down my answers.
All right. Question number 2. How many points did you score if you completed your secret mission? We're starting easy. We're moving up. Yeah, there you go. How many of you have done a secret mission in the last 2 months?
I've never successfully done one. Spoilers.
All right. Question number 3. What weather-related mission rule did we say goodbye to before Pariah Nexus?
Thankfully, I'm very good at this.
The question again, sorry.
Say again?
What was the question again? I missed that.
So the question number 3, what weather-related mission rule did we say goodbye to at the start of Pariah Nexus?
Okay, I'm with you.
Fog of War.
Yeah, good one. Lightning fast reactions? I don't know.
That's not weather.
Lightning's weather. Can you name all 3 secondaries that you can bin at the start of the first battle round? Sam Dunn, straight away in my favourite people of all time book. Davey Hawson, we get fucking quizzes. This is sick. Yes. I do love a quiz. All right. If you've all got the answers to that written down, what secondary card can you discard if you have less than 2 units on the battlefield? Oh.
Oh god.
Yeah. You like that, don't you?
I'm still trying to think of another one that you can discard turn 1. I was like, I'm sure there's another one that I can't. Yeah, there's one more that I'm missing.
All right. So that last question, which secondary card can you discard if you have less than 2 units on the battlefield? But don't worry, the next one's way easier. Which secondary can you discard if you have less than 3 units on the battlefield?
Jesus. That's probably easier.
I hate you, Davey.
These are hard questions, right?
It's not easy. I've played it for ages and I can't think of what they are.
We've been playing it for literally a year, guys. I can't believe you don't know these things. One of the answers is in the chat, thanks to Zero. He's helping you out. The last question, guys. The last question. Which is the only action secondary that you can declare a charge the same turn you do it with that unit. So you can do an action and then you can declare a charge the same turn. Yeah. To be fair, I found this out last week. All right. Who likes answers? Because I can see all your brains. Do you want 10 more seconds? 10 more seconds while Jack scours Wikipedia. Anyone in the chat, are you feeling confident that you can get all these right? All right. I'm going to go through some of the answers here. What is the name of the new chapter approved? It is chapter approved.
I got that one.
2025 to 26.
Yeah.
I didn't know it. But I did write down.
Right, yeah.
I copied down chapter approved Pariah Nexus, so I got it wrong. But, but I did have chapter approved.
We love it. All right. Secret mission scored you how many points, guys?
20.
20. Very nice. Very nice. What weather-related mission rule did we say goodbye to at the start of Pariah Nexus?
Chilling
rain. Chilling rain. Can you name all 3 secondaries you can bin off at the start of the first battle round?
I got Storm Hostile and behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Defense Stronghold.
That makes a lot of
Defend
sense.
strong.
So it
I
defend.
forgot that one existed.
I blanked it. I was like, what?
Yeah,
is it?
same. I didn't know what the last one was. I was like, I couldn't think of it. I was still
Which
trying to mark
secondary
it down.
card can you discard if you have less than 2 units on the battlefield? It is
Extend battle
recover
lines.
assets.
Oh,
Cover assets. Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't get that one. I wrote down extend battle lines as well.
Fair. Which secondary card can you discard if you have less than 3 units on the battlefield? It is engage on all fronts.
Yes, I got that one.
And the last one, which secondary action allows you to declare a charge and still score the points? Containment, because it completes immediately.
well, unfortunately, Davey, that's not quite true.
Uh-huh.
Well, Out of War said it was true, so it's true, Jack.
Well, I
internet
think
said
they're
it's true,
wrong.
Jack.
The
I
rules
wrote-
for actions say you're ineligible to charge until the end of the turn, regardless of
What
when.
is it?
Yeah, I wrote down burden of trust, thinking it might have.
That's how you get 100 points, guys. That's how you get 100 points.
That's how you get 100 points.
Go to the war room. I'll teach you.
All
But
right, Jack, you win.
that rule carries over into the new chapter approved, so it's relevant.
Is it? Well, there you go, Jack. There you go. Nice, nice.
Ooh.
Right, speaking of the new pack, Jack,
Jack
let's go into it.
Paxton.
Right, I've created this very sophisticated model for ranking things. It is definitely not based on a Portuguese restaurant chain, right? We are looking at
Fuego.
how spicy some of the changes are in this new chapter approved. Some of the changes to the missions we're going to be looking at. We're going to be discussing some of the changes to secondaries as well. And then finally, I've got a very quick list of the challenger cards that we're going to quickly run through and decide how spicy they are as well. So, Sam Dunn, Gulliman is full mango. Yeah, he's no spicy whatsoever. So we've got 4 levels. We've got extra spicy. We've got spicy. We've got mild. It's all right. It's a mild spice. And then we have no spice, which is just a picture of Gulliman. Yes, we'll get to your question, John. Let's have a look. What was it again? We'll just do it now because it's easier to do it now when I find it.
Yes.
Question: do you think this set will have more people taking fixed secondaries more often?
Yes, but not for the reason you think.
Oh, I mean, that is a great YouTube title.
Yeah.
That's a video. Write that down.
But I think we're going to talk about it in a few minutes anyway, when we go over them. So I guess but yeah, I do think people are going to pick them more.
Well, without further ado, let's talk about it. So, the first mission I want to talk about, guys, supply drop. So if you don't know about supply drop, you used to randomly decide which objective disappeared. Now that doesn't happen anymore. You always keep the middle one at the end, and randomly the other side secondaries disappear. I think that's the only changes. So, Ed, what do you think about that change for supply drop?
It's such a good change. Like, it's the fact that you don't have a random, my expansion is the last one that turns up, and suddenly someone has to play a completely wild game towards the end of the game to try and stop that 15 from happening. It creates it a little bit more stable, to be fair, which I like. It's still an element where you could lose your expansion before your opponent does, for sure, but then that's less impactful than having the 15 at the end. I think it still has the same issue though of whoever goes second has a massive advantage.
Yes.
So they've fixed the problem in the fact that your expansion could be the 15 objective, which is nice, but the fact that you still have a 15 point effectively bonus at the end is still going to be an issue. So I think that's it. So in terms of changes, it's a good change, but I just don't think they've quite done it enough, because I think first is still probably has the disadvantage there, as far as I can read anyway, unless anyone else.
Do you think it would have been interesting if they said that if you go first, your natural expansion leaves last?
Yeah, but
Maybe.
to determine which one is the natural expansion is different by map, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah,
Or maybe they get to pick.
Maybe actually, yeah. To be fair, if you go first, having to be able to choose which one goes last would be an interesting change, because ultimately then at least you can go, well, I'm probably not going to score the 15 because our opponent's going to deny it, but at least it's going to be on my expansion, so I can at least try and move blockers so they don't score it either.
I think that would bring back the issue of you have to deploy not knowing where what's going to go.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, then that provides an element of. I don't think that's as bad as it used to be, as impactful as it used to be in that respect. But yeah, I think it could still be an issue.
How spicy do we feel that is then?
I think that's pretty mild. Because again, it is like Ed says, it is better. Like I like the way that it's not going to create that situation where you deploy on one side of the board and kind of like hope that you just get it. Because I've done that before and I've ruined people's days doing that. And
overload a flank.
exactly.
Overload a flank and go, well, it's a 1 in 3.
or it's the middle and I'm probably fine, right?
Yeah.
But the only thing I don't like about it is that, particularly on the UKTC maps, which hopefully are going to change, it makes it super good if you're going second, because you have a really easy access to hide a bunch of stuff and then just jump on the middle objective at the end.
You can just dump OC on there and stop. Like if you just whack like 10 OC 2 bodies on there, it's really hard to remove, especially with screens and getting around the walls and stuff.
Yeah, on UKTC maps, it's super easy to keep those units safe.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Are you happy with that, Ed, as mild?
I would agree. Yeah, I'm with Jack. I think it's like it's not no surprise, because I have made a change, which is a positive change, right? So I wouldn't say it's anything monstrously exciting. But I'll go with mild. It's
very nice.
It's an average chicken.
All right. Well, next one is the ritual. So the ritual has changed now that you have all the objectives in no man's land. You now do not remove them. Johnny boy, what do you think about that one?
I like it, but I also don't like that it's kind of removed that weird kind of mini game to it. But I like the fact that you're not going to have that situation where everyone's kind of going, right, here's 9 inches away from the centre, right in my just outside my deployment zone, I can safely put one here, because it becomes a very passive game. So I'm not sure how the measurements work, but I'm hoping that it's slightly more aggressive and you kind of have to take some more risks with it. But I feel like it's just going to mean less of them are done, because there'll be less space, right?
I think... Someone buy me time. Let me find out what it says.
I've got it open. Which one is that?
Oh, the ritual.
The ritual.
Because if you've got 3 already there, there's only so many places they can be exactly the distance apart.
It has to be 12 inches away from one other objective marker within no man's land and not within 6 inches of any other objective marker.
Yeah, that's the same as it was before, right?
So in theory, you shouldn't be able to string them as easily. So we'll probably see less. It'll be less impactful in people doing the actions and more. Maybe
so you think people will be less able to crowd them into one space and therefore just be uninteractive?
I think because the main 3 are kind of spread quite equally, that should help mitigate it a little bit at least.
I still think it's a similar issue, just not as bad. Yeah. It's basically it's just within 12 inches of another objective marker, right? It doesn't just say the middle. So.
I think it's like supply drop. They've kind of given a small fix to it that doesn't kind of mitigate the frustration, but it makes it slightly less feels badsy.
Yeah, I think it's more so. It's just going to become more predictable. So because obviously it covers less of a space. You can basically go 12 inches away from that deployment, exactly 12 inches away from the middle, because that's where you set up your first objective marker. There you go, right? So that's where the first objective marker is going to be. Therefore, it's going to be either here or here, because that's basically 2 sides of the deployment that it's going to be in that arc. Yeah. Then you can set up 12 inches away from that again. So you can have one very easy expansion objective very near your deployment zone, which is obviously still going to be, good for hold. It's going to be very good for holding primary anyway. But I think it's just because it'll just make it slightly less predictable, which is nice. But
it'll help elite armies a little bit more, right? Because if there's 3 objectives in the middle, you don't have to generate them to actually then do things like actions or something on. Like, it stops that situation where if you've not been able to place any down, you can't score things that require you to like cleanse equivalent type of thing. So
I still think it's going to be very easy to get 10s and 15s on this mission. And I think that was one of the issues. One of the defining traits of the mission that it was before, right? If you played the ritual, it was just like, 2 people are going to score 50 primary, and whoever gets better cards wins. Or if it was that sort of stable game. So it'll provoke aggressive play to try and win games convincingly, especially in teams that will make it interesting. So
I've seen that it's in the tournament pack for GW tournament pack, so it is planned to be used. Do you think we'll see it in the average tournament pack?
I don't think so. I think it's.
in the UK, definitely not. Right? We have people don't like it.
I think. Yeah, well, Carringer.
I'm so far off base with you guys on this one. I think this is not a good change. I think they've changed it in the sense that it will, it's going to stop people getting shut out of games, like the super skew matchups. Like if you're getting run over, you're not just going to straight away get a 0. But at the same time, like I think it's still got the ability to form like a massive castle of objectives and just score loads of primary. And
Yeah.
time and time again, I think players have shown that if you give them the option where you have to play super aggressive to get a score out of this game, or you can just play super defensive and take your 40, 45 points or more, people are just going to play the defensive game.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's going to happen. I don't really think that this has fundamentally changed the way that this mission works. It's just kind of, if anything, your castles are just going to be further away from each other.
That's
so
yeah.
I think it's just going to be everyone walks away with 40 plus, maybe even 50 every game, and that's it. But I don't even think it's going to be played in the UKTC tournament back. So.
But that's what I meant though, because I said it's going to be basically a similar sort of thing where you can have everyone's going to get like 10 to 15 a turn, and it's going to be like 45 to 50 primary at the end. And therefore, if you want to win a game convincingly, you have to push it, which is probably why you probably see it in more team tournaments rather than singles. Because in singles, as you say, especially when you're playing the single mentality, where someone's like, "Oh, well, if I lose with 90, it's fine, right?" And therefore, it creates these very uninteresting games. So I can see that being an issue in singles. But it's just not a massive change, right? It's just it has the same identity as it did before. So
John, what do you think then? Where do you want to put it?
I think it's no spice personally, because it's just
same.
It's one of those missions that when it comes up and I'm paired into Chaos Knights, I just want to cry because it's just a boring game.
Yeah.
For me, it's custodes when they just go, I don't have to leave my deployment zone. Yay! I'll cleanse on the same objective that I make. That's beautiful. Yeah.
I did have the next one as being Burden of Trust, but guess what? It's been taken out of the tournament pack, so we don't have to even talk about it.
Hey.
Nice.
Not sad about that.
No, me neither. What a ball ache of a mission. What about Hidden Supplies, the mission? How do you feel about Hidden Supplies, the mission?
Very good. Big fan of this. I feel like it's a rare instance of Games Workshop remembering something that worked really well in a previous edition and then bringing it back, rather than forgetting all of the things that worked well and leaving them in the past. Because I'm pretty sure Hold 1, Hold 2, Hold More was a 9th edition thing, right?
It was, but you don't get your home objective in this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is nice. I like it.
But the Hold More is including your home objective, I think, right? You just don't score 5 points for it. Yeah. So
that's nice, because that's almost like a tiebreaker type of thing. That's kind of neat.
So I think this one's going to be it's kind of about you got to hold 2 and then stop your opponent holding 1 and then deny 1 as well. Which some armies are going to be able to do super easily and some armies aren't, but that's kind of the way you want it to be, I think. So yeah, big happy with that one.
Nice.
Big.
Anyone else before Jack spices this up?
No. I think, as I say, I really like it as well. I don't say anything on this one, but I like the change. It's just the fact that before it was 5, 10, 15. It could turn into a similar thing where you have people people can get 10 and 15s throughout the game, and it can sort of turn. If it's a very stable game, it can turn that way. But when you get the Hold More involved as well, it adds an extra element to it, which I really like. So, yeah, that's me.
Nice. Where do you think, Jack?
So much like the extra spicy chicken, I am looking forward to this one. So I would put it in extra spicy because
I think that's absolutely very reasonable. I'm a big fan.
Nice.
All right. Terraform. So Terraform, the change has been that you now can unterraform an objective and you get a point at the end of every turn instead of 2 points in your command phase. So basically it's Terraform plus more words. We'll go back to Ed. Ed, what do you think of Terraform plus more words?
I'm just having a read of what the plus more words are. So, I
think it's really interesting that it creates a lot more dynamic play. I think you've got to fight over the objectives constantly, and because it scores the end of both player turns. I'm sure there was a 9th mission that went like that as well.
Maybe yeah.
But it kind of makes you feel like you've got to push the button on the objective each turn. That's kind of how it comes out a lot as. Which it's a lot more dynamic, which I appreciate. There is active, if you terraform an objective away from someone, that's a 2-point swing because it's you gain 1 and they lose 1 in the same turn. So yeah,
I like it.
it's all very, and because the action finishes at the end of your turn, it all becomes very like dynamic, and there's less chance of people just getting like playing against 60 orcs and getting shut out on turn 1, which I appreciate.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
I've had a read and I'm with it. I really like the change. It's the fact that you can actually unterraform other people's objectives as well. As you say, that's a nice little change to make it go back and forth. Because as Jack says, it's a similar situation where you have either 60 orcs or just people who have like the Gretchen bomb or just like a battle line units that are going to be in a really awkward place that you can't remove. And terraforming early is just very annoying. So yeah, I really really like this. To be fair, I think this is a really positive change.
It is. I'm sad though.
Are you sad? Why are you sad?
It is the right change to have.
Yeah.
But there was something very cool about being able to like move block someone's entire army turn 1.
Oh,
Remember when we had that month period where you were like, oh yeah, I'm going to put this 200 prime and gargoyles, battle shot my entire opponent's army, and then terraform off the objectives, and they wouldn't be able to do it. I'm like, cool. How many times have you done that in the last 10 games? None.
No,
It never worked.
Never
But it
happened.
was like, oh, in theory, it's so amazing.
The theory was sound, all right? The theory was very good.
I like the actions at the end of turn thing, especially because it's just like it's something that both your opponent can do each turn, and it's just there's more engagement. It reminds me of a bit of no, it's not actually, it's nothing like it, but Data Scry back in the day, like on 9th. I really like that mission for a similar situation because both people had people doing units doing actions each turn, and it also means that you have to have a unit do it every turn, well not every turn, but to try and deny it and stuff. So I quite like that change.
I think there's going to be a mad scramble. I think it definitely promotes interactivity, as you say, right? Because you're going to be trying to kill your opponent's chaff so that they can't do this, and then you can. And
for sure, it's going to introduce a lot of new units, a lot of like new approaches to the game, which I quite like. So, say for instance, like maybe even more action monkeys, or maybe some indirect to get rid of chaff, or not that we want more indirect to the game, but it's
more reasons.
Not that Reavers, yeah. Or not that I would ever use indirect, obviously.
No, of course.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
So where do we think we're putting it, Ed?
I'm gonna go with extra spicy. I think I really like that. I think it's really, really cool. Like I think out of the ones that we're going to be looking at soon, I think getting the extra spices in early is nice. So I really like Terraform.
So those are the 4 big mission changes from the tournament pack that we're going to talk about. The rest of them, there was no changes, so we haven't mentioned them. All right. So let's look at the secondary missions. All right, we've got Assassinate. So Assassinate now is no longer just 5 points for killing a character. If you have a character with less than 3 wounds, you want to get 3 points. What do we think of that?
I think there's another important change here, in that you are capped at 4 points per turn if you take this as a fixed.
I think Assassinate was already capped.
I'm not sure, but either way, you can't just take this as a fix and score a bunch of points on it in one turn.
Yeah.
Which I think, I mean, I don't like this change. I don't like changes that make fixed less of an option. Even though I don't think fixed is less of an option, which is a bit counterintuitive way to think of it. I do like the fact that my guard characters are going to be worth less points. Bring it down. Bring it down. Assassinate. That's good. So I kind of think this is more on the mild end.
Okay.
But it's fine. It's fine.
What do you think, John?
It's again one of these small changes that are just removing that feels bad of you, like the fact that you could have a 3 wound like little character that costs 50 points scores you the same points as killing a flipping Primarch. Just feels kind of a bit like, is it the same amount of work? When you look at, say, Bring It Down and it's got that scale, I'm glad they've not done that level of scale to it, but it at least produces something. I don't think it's perfect, but it's definitely a step in some sort of right direction, I think. Like, it at least feels like they're trying. Whether it's worked, whole different kettle of fish, I suppose.
Fair enough. Where do we think we're putting this, guys?
Mild.
Yeah, that was my gut. I'm not excited. I'm not thinking I'm going to go killing. I'm not going to take loads of precision and just go and do that as a fixed. Like, nah.
So now we're going to talk about something that it hasn't changed in the mission pack, but has left us in the mission pack, and that is RIP Containment. Ed, what do you think about RIP Containment?
I mean, I loved Containment when I drew it, but I hated it when my opponent drew it. So, so overall, I'm okay with it. I mean, it's Containment was one of those ones that was just a bit too easy, right? It was a touch too easy, especially as soon as you could charge after doing it. And but yeah, I just think Containment was. Oh, by the way, guys, if that's not right, I promise I didn't know. I'm joking. But Containment's fine.
Don't believe everything you hear on the internet, right?
Yeah, don't hear everything you hear on the internet, guys. But yeah, Containment's like going is I'm not against. It was a bit too easy. It's a 6 point. I think 6 point secondaries for that little of a commitment, especially on the UKTC boards. You got that tiny little gap in the top little L, and just being like, I'm gonna have two little Skyrunners be like 6 points, and not even give up anything to do it. It creates this, especially with the way the boards are designed. It always creates this, this feeling of uninteractivity. So I'm not against Containment going as a concept. I feel like if you can get more engaging and entertaining secondaries in there instead, for sure. Like there's one that this Tended Target's probably going to set up at some point. I think that's a really good replacement for it, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's where I'm at with Containment.
Very nice. John, what do you reckon to that one?
I'm kind of glad, because there was some times where it felt pretty soulless if you're playing on diagonals and someone just goes, I've got some infiltrators, they're already doing it. And it was just dumb luck. It didn't require any agency or kind of sacrifice. And then there's other secondaries that were completed in your opponent's turn. We had to jump through so many hoops just to go and sabotage or recover assets. And it was like they didn't feel very equal, despite the points kind of not reflecting it at all. Which felt really... I'm glad. It's just, I liked scoring when I got it at the right time, but that doesn't mean it was good. So
fair. Any thoughts on that, Jack, before we land this in the old spiceometer?
Yeah, I think that it didn't really fit with the rest of the pack because it was quite a lot easier than the other secondaries, and you kind of felt shoehorned into having to do it because it was a lot of points, but you did have to give up 2 units to do actions. So yeah, its spiritual successor is kind of back later on, which is fine, which I think is a little bit more appropriate. Yeah, I just don't think it fit with the rest of the tournament pack. So I'm not glad it's gone, but I don't mind that it's gone. Also, read the assassination thing, because I've seen John mentioned it in the chat.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting confused between that one and Bring It Down.
Bring it down.
Yeah.
But no, so for clarity, there is no cap on fixed for Assassinate.
You kill 5 characters in a turn, it all adds up, right? I think that's that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are we feeling about Containment going? Are we thinking mild? Not that bothered? Expected it?
I mean, I'm happy that it's gone, but not like ecstatic. So like,
I mean, this sounds like mild as in the crowd goes mild. Like,
yeah, the crowd
goes mild. Yeah, I love that, Jack. That is brilliant. I like that. All right, what about the pity mode in marked? Is it 2 points or 3 points to score?
I think it's 2.
2.
Yeah, it's 2.
So if you don't know the change, guys, the change is your opponent still chooses 3 units, but you also get to choose a unit that you would like to kill, and you get 3 points if you do it.
I don't like this, because I think is it 3 or 2? I think it's 2.
I think it might be 2.
It's 2. I've got it here.
Yeah.
It's 2. Sorry.
So my problem with this is that it's one of the ones that seems really abusable. Like when it comes, so one of the changes is the that you can't you can hold a mission through your turn and then discard it at the end of the enemy turn, right? But you don't get a CP if you do it. However, the other changes, I know I'm like skipping ahead, but I thought we need to give context on this one. If you score a mission, you can't willingly choose to get rid of it. That means if someone is aiming to get 6 points down so they become the challenger and they can get the cards, I think what ends up happening is that your opponent will pick 3 things, and then you'll pick one that you also aren't going to get, and then you just don't score it so you can get rid of the card. Because I don't think 2 points is worth it when you could get the 3-point card that's way easier, and you probably don't have to.
Jack is so big brain right now.
And yeah, so I think it's going to contribute to some scoring weirdness. Like, what if you end up in a situation where you have to pick 3 units for Mark for Death, and you end up picking the 5-pointer to be a unit your opponent can't avoid killing because you need them to score points to stop them being the challenger? How weird is that going to be? Like,
Brilliant.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm missing. I think if that's the case, and you don't want to score the 2 points, it wouldn't, and you're going to want to redraw something. Wouldn't you just redraw it for a CP?
At the start of the turn, yeah, you could.
But
Or
then
you
if you're
could.
going to keep the card to the end of the turn anyway, then wouldn't you just score the card for 2 points? I don't. Why wouldn't you want to score the card for 2 points?
Because you want to maintain a 6-point deficit to become the challenger.
Okay, I see what you mean.
So
I was
you'd
just
get-
like,
you'd be
why
up
are we-
1
I was
point.
confused. Oh,
You'd
Yeah,
be up 1 point, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you still be up. Yeah, you still be up points. But yeah, that's fair. That's
And-
interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
So I'm not. This is one of the missions I think contributes to this problem.
I think I understand the concern from where you're coming from. I get that as a concept, but I think having an option for Mark just not being for having marked as not just being a 0 card secondary is also cool.
Yeah.
Like, it also gives you some level of engagement. Because like in like, in tournament play, yes, there's some levels that they can be abused, but you also can look at the wider thing where if someone's just playing a game of 40k and picking up this picking up this to play, and they're like, oh, this card's terrible, I can't do anything. Oh, but I can pick this and score 2 points. Yay!
Yeah.
I think getting rid of an asset and scoring 2 points is probably equivalent, maybe, depending on. To be fair, depending on what turn it is, right? If it's early in the game, probably 2 points and kill an asset. Yeah. But later in the game, you might just be that point that you need. So it's interesting, Jack. That's really cool. I never thought about that.
Yeah. Especially if you have like a weird situation, like you get it turn 1, your opponent has infiltrated something. Do you actually want to, like, if you're going second, do you really want to kill that unit, or would you rather just not score a secondary that turn and become the challenger on turn 2? I don't know.
Any thoughts, John, before we
Mm.
spice it up?
No, because that whole theory behind it, I'm like, I just need to play it and see, because I just don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure we're all overthinking it or underthinking it. Who knows? It might be the thing where it's either extreme. It's not just going to be some sort of middle ground, is it? It's going to be either we're all doing it or we're just not.
So I think this probably falls in spicy, right? Because it's kind of spicy.
Yeah.
You're desperate to not have one section totally filled.
Yeah.
Stop it, Jack. Stop it. All right, guys. What about bring one thing down? Because it's not bring it down. Well, it's bring it down, but this is one thing. Because
I
you
love
love
this
it.
change. As someone
You
who
love-
runs
yeah,
an
you
army
love
of
it.
exclusively vehicles, I love it. Yes, and this is the one where you can't just get all your points in one turn. That's super good because
I hate to tell you this, Jack.
is it?
In fixed, each time an enemy monster or vehicle is destroyed, you get points.
But the
But the tactical is capped.
Yeah.
Got
So
4
you
points.
don't get this turn where your opponent just draws it on the turn where you've committed 3 units of crisis suits and they score 12 points, which sucks.
I love
As a training player, I'm
that.
the same, man. As a training player, I am the same because if you lost multiple monsters, it was just ding, 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 ding. But what I would say is some of the vehicles and monsters that would have scored your opponent, I think 3 in the past, now also score them 4. So GW giveth, GW taketh away.
So I think this is better than it was. Not as good as it could be still.
Where do you reckon?
Spicy?
I think spicy. I think that's
Yeah,
interesting. I think it's interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah. Move on to the next one. What about cull a bunch of guys? Because it's not quite a horde anymore. It's only 13 people. Cull a baker's dozen.
This is the worst. I don't like the fact that my 10-man cage units for command squad now give up points for Cold Horde. That's
Well, they do if you're on your home objective as well, Jack, right? So now your opponent has to get to your home objective and kill them. So now you also trigger it rather than discarding it.
I guess that is also true.
It's also pretty good in fixed if you try to just go and if people have too many units of it, right? From what I've seen, like any battle round fixed, every time you kill a unit with 13, starting with 13 plus, including attached units, is destroyed 5 points. That's That's pretty harsh.
Yeah, pretty hard.
There's a lot of units that even if you're looking at I don't know, creep blob or in guard, let's say, or there's lots of things. If you've got an opponent which they have pieces which fit that description that they need to use to play the game, then it's going to be pretty rough, right? I think it could make Horde suffer a little bit more. But yeah, I like it.
Yeah, as a former Horde player, with all my Hormigans, I lost. As well. I've had my opponent score 15 points on pulling it as a tactical secondary, and it's just horrendous.
Yeah,
I think the intention here was to stop it affecting things like units of possessed, right? Because this doesn't have the 25 wound rider thing anymore. So I think it's to stop it affecting large units of elite infantry, which it does achieve. But then I don't know. I feel like having that in there was a good thing in general. But that's just me as someone who doesn't have a lot of those units saying that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Ed, where would you put this, mate?
I think this is I think it's spicy in the fact that it's very different and new. But do I like the change though? Oh, it's still got some spice. I'll go with mild minimum just because it's still something, right? It's still a change. Yeah, for me, there's no spice is pretty much nothing has changed. But yeah, I think that's
all right. Speaking of things where not a great deal has changed, what about reduced extend? So instead of scoring 5 on extend, you now score 4.
It's had its time. It's had two packs of being the best mission. It's fine if it's slightly worse.
Yeah.
I'm fine with this.
John, what do you reckon?
Yeah, with any of these that was just kind of you could just do it, something needed to be done with it. Like the fact that you could just draw a card and go, right, I've scored it, cool. You don't have to fight to score it. That feels like there's something wrong with that card. If that happens 90% of the time.
Yeah, big old Jim agrees with you. Draw a card, score 5.
Yeah, it's just cool. Well done.
Is this lemon and herb then?
This is my mum's Nando order. No spice.
And plain chips and no rice.
Amazing. All right. What about assets that are easier to find? So if you don't know the recover assets, now complete at the end of your turn rather than the end of your opponent's turn. So it got way easier.
Big up.
What do we think of that one, Jack?
Big up. We like this. However, it is another one of those ones where you may be I'm not going to expose 3 units for 2 points. I'm going to expose 2 units for 3 points. I'm not going to expose the 3rd unit for an extra 2 points because that's not worth it. I would like to be the challenger. So I think it's another one of those kind of missions where you have to think if it's worth giving up potentially those extra units when that extra score it's when maybe be worth one of those things where if you're going first it's worth it, if you're going second it's probably not worth it, maybe one of those.
I'm loving this challenger mindset, Jack.
You got to get in the challenger mindset, otherwise you'll never be a challenger.
It's going to be he's going to say, everyone's trying to abuse the cards for this and this. Jack is going to be the one who's going to be abusing the cards.
As long as it's on his time, I don't mind.
Jack's doing the whole the meme of the guy with all the numbers going past his head.
The Hangover.
The Hangover, yeah.
And it's gonna happen, but he's gonna accidentally lose by a point.
Didn't carry the one.
No! My plans.
Cool. Where are we placing this, guys?
I like this. And
I'm putting this in extra spicy.
Yeah, I think this is
because it may cause weirdness.
Very nice. All right, Ed, you are up, and I want you to tell me how many times you're going to say to your opponent you score 1 on engage. Because now engage, you score 1 point for having 2 corners, 2 points for having 3, and 4 points for having 4.
Nice.
This is very boring, isn't it? I think 1 point secondary. If you're in a position where you're on a 1 point secondary, you're probably redrawing anyway. Or if you redraw into it, then you suppose having a 1 point thing is nice. But
that's right. Sorry, it's 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah, it's 1, 2, and 3. It's 1, 2, and 4.
1, 2, and 4.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 4. So do I like this change? I like the fact that you can do it now that they're putting like 2 quarters in, so and you don't redraw it really. You don't redraw it all. That's interesting. But apart from that, it just seems very samey.
Yeah.
I'm not a massive fan of the 1 point thing because it's just. I mean, I suppose that's another card as Jack says could be used as a challenge to be the challenger and stuff.
Yeah.
Or it may also create weirdness where you want to CP that turn, and because you score before you discard, if you want that CP, you have to actively make sure you're not in 2 zones, so you don't score it, so you can get your extra CP.
Yeah, that's crap.
Which
I don't like it.
any situation where you have to be like, I don't want to score this, and I have to make sure that I don't score this, is bad. We don't like that.
Nah, I'm with you. I had a feeling there was going to be something that would annoy me about the 1 point thing, and you just pointed it out. So no, I do not like this. That is my sell on this one.
Nice. So this sounds like it's not very spicy at all.
No, not at all.
No.
It is milk and sugar. That is how spicy this is.
Milk and sugar.
But it is good that it keeps someone in the game, right? Like if someone's having a really rough game where they're just getting absolutely bodied, at least they're scoring some points that gives.
They're going to want that one CP.
Yeah, that's not true. That's not true, John. They score 1 point.
Well, a point. Like you got to remember that this is for the situations where things are going wrong. At least if you're not just binning the card off, or maybe you're binning the other card off, and this one at least scores you a point.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't affect. Maybe you're that far behind that you're still going to be getting your free special cards and stuff. But I don't know. I like that there's not just the catch up mechanics, that there's also just some bits that are a bit easier and scaled. So.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. If it was,
well, John, we'll come to you for the next one. Cleansed got juiced up. It's a juiced cleanse. What do you think about cleanse going to 5 points instead of 4?
I mean, I love it personally.
That's because you're just going to score it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I really like it, to be honest. In tactical, getting 5 points for doing 2 actions is great, right? We love that when we're doing it with cleanse, but this time you're doing it whilst having to sit on circles, which means you have to engage with the enemy. So I quite like it.
So Johnny, you were fun?
They were just dipping. They were kind of shaking the shaker of the spicy stuff on your chips, and the lid just popped off. I feel they've really overspiced this one. Great, we're going to score more points, but should it have been? Probably not.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good way of saying it, mate. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I think this is going to be one of the ones you're hyped to see now.
Yeah,
because it's like cleanse, right? Like containment. You'll be like, cool, I've got it in a situation where I can just do it, and there's no sacrifice or cost. Cool. And you're like designed to do it, right?
I'm just going to be that guy tonight that just shits on everyone's chips. So
not very spicy at all.
I want to spice my chips, not have them shit on, man.
So here's my issue with it. So cleanse is a really good fixed option, right? And in fact, it's like one of probably, if you're going to go fixed, you're almost always going to go for cleanse, right? Yeah. And we know in the past that creates some like pretty messed up army builds. Looking at Yukon Optech Court, double Wraith build. I'm concerned.
Looking at you, Ed Watts.
No, not me.
Looking at you, Combi Lieutenant.
I'm concerned. I mean, the fixed. I mean, we're going to talk about challenge cards later, so I think we'll talk about fixed then. But like, I don't know if this is fixed. This is like I want fixed to be an option. I think this may be option in a bad way. I don't know.
It feels like 9th edition secondaries, right? Where you just sit there doing your shit, right?
Yeah. If it's going to be, I'm going to sit 2 massive units that you can't kill on these points. You have to come and get me. But if you do, you're kind of screwed. Then I'm not sure if I'm happy about that.
I would agree, except like the problem is with 9th, you used to have like one model and you do it with a pistol and you could do it in combat and stuff. That's not a thing. You know what I mean? You can just tag stuff, move, block, and be annoying. Like people don't. There's a reason why cleanse didn't exist when there's a reason why people didn't cleanse as a fixed option while Green Tide was about, and it was an amazing horde, right? Like if, in theory, if that's the army, if there's an army you're going to be doing cleanse with, it's going to be with an army like that. But no one did it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And the reason, and one of the main reasons is well, one, if you're going to cleanse, every unit you're going to put on that objective has to be fresh and not be tagged and not fall back each time, which is going to limit the amount of cleanses you can do anyway. Hence why, like, I'm looking at like a horde list, and I love a horde list. But even when I'm using using the Horde list most time, even with the Templars. The only time I used to use cleanse was when I could do it at the start of Temp. Oh, I've got a pistol in the unit, I can cleanse while in combat. But you can't do that right now, right? So I think as a worry, I think that sorts that out. To be honest, I think cleanse hasn't changed in terms of fixed at all, right? It's not more spicy because it's not more spicy than it was last chapter approved. It's 2 points per objective, right? It's just more spicy for tactical. So
You're right. I actually completely forgot that you can't do cleansing combat anymore. But
so I think it's fine.
but there's still an issue with it, which we'll talk about when we get to.
I think I know what the issue is going to be, but from that perspective, it's fine.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get to that issue. All right. Well, we're gonna rapid fire through the last two because they're pretty because we're running a little bit on time. So, tempting target is returned. So if you don't remember what tempting target is, your opponent chooses an objective in no man's land for you to take, and you've got to take it, and you get 5 of the whole points if you get there. Are we liking or are we not liking? Broadly speaking,
It's great if you're an Eldar player, right?
I think it's fantastic. I think it's great as an Eldar player and a Horde player. I think it's fantastic.
When I look back on that mission, I think of it fondly. So I'm not sad it's coming back. I'm fine with it. I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, I mean,
It
if you look
forces some agency, right?
Yeah, if you look at what it's replaced, right, we've lost Containment and gained Tempting. That's basically what we're looking at in terms of secondary, in terms of direct card changes, as in ones that have been replaced. And Tempting Target's way cooler than Containment, right? Like it forces something that you have to. Don't worry, it can be easy for certain armies. I agree, but I still think it's a lot more interesting than Containment. So I do like it. I do like it as a replacement. If you look at it from just the perspective of it is a replacement for Containment, I really like it.
I think extra spicy because a lot of people are going to say I don't like it, and a lot of people are going to say I really do like it. So I think controversial.
That is spicy. That is the definition.
So provocative.
Right, and display of might. What do we think of display of might, guys? This is a new secondary which basically says to you, hey, why don't you get more models or more units rather into no man's land than your opponent, and you will get a set amount of points, which I will double check.
4.
4.
This is going to be one of those ones where it's like if you get it on the right turn, it's 4 points, and if you don't get it on the right turn, you're going to be really annoyed because you're just going to not be able to get it.
Yeah, I think it's also going to help it will help armies with lots of units in Purge though, which I don't hate. So
That's interesting. Yeah.
Because you'll have armies like
cheap shit, right?
I've got like 8 units outside my deployment zone because that's just how my army's set up, and the person's like, I've only got 7. I can't get more than that, and that'll create like a 4-point differential if both players, an 8-point differential if both players draw that card throughout the game, which I do think that is interesting. So I think if you look at other application display of mine, I think it's cool. I think it's fine. And also the fact that you can't score at turn 1, they've looked ahead for that, which is good. So if you draw it the first battle round, you draw a new one. So it's not like you can just go first turn and get 4 points just by moving 1 unit out, which is nice. So, but yeah, I'd agree with the fact that you can
tested
go
it.
Yes.
Shit.
Damn it.
Saw my plan.
So close.
Custody's bad, so this good.
Yes.
I think this is a really good
right?
point. Paint Ellison has put it in the chat that it's really kind of bad for custodies, but I would argue that custodies also get benefits in other ways. So like no prisoners is particularly hard against them. So I think it generally balances out, right?
That's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah.
So where do we think this is going? I think this is pretty spicy,
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say spicy just because it's new. It's interesting because it's new. We like new stuff.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel like just a rehash, which I think's nice. I can't think of a secondary before that's been about more units. It's interesting.
Yeah, not 10.
No.
Yeah.
We are going to get to the new mechanic, guys. I'm sure this is going to spark some debate. I can't figure out a good way to do this. So we have to do basically the name of the stratagem or the name of the challenger card, and then we're going to determine how spicy it is. But that will incorporate both the mission, challenger mission, and the challenger stratagem. So the first one we have is opportunistic strike, and I'm going to quickly go over it. So in the shooting phase, the unit of your army that's not in engagement range, they get to basically grenade something within 6 inches of them. As a tyranny player, big fan. And the mission for this, though, which is probably even better, One or more enemy models from 2 or more different units were destroyed this turn of your opponents. And you get 3 victory points for doing that. What do we think of that, guys?
That's just so insanely good.
Yeah, I mean,
Easy.
super easy to get. I don't think I would ever use a stratagem side of this, unless I literally couldn't do the other one.
Yeah.
As a tyranny player, I would just do it. Just be like, grenades!
Just because you can't do it normally, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
I keep painting on my world, it's going, oh, another grenade. Cool. On another
my
unit.
Eldar, my Eldar didn't do enough mortal wounds before. I think having more mortal wounds would be really nice, to be fair. So I think this is a great stratagem. But yeah, I think you most times just want the 3 points, right?
Yeah. Do you agree, John?
Yeah. I like that it is killing models from units, not killing units, because if it was even just killing a unit, I don't think you'd be able to pull it off that easily.
Yeah.
Situationally, and it just would feel a bit miserable.
Ironically,
too easy, right?
Throwing a grenade is a great way to score this.
Yeah.
It is an incredible way to score this.
And you have to be 6 inches away, for there's no deep strike 6 inches away shenanigans here as well, which is quite nice. Quite a big fan of that. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Where do we think this lies, guys, in terms of spiciness?
It's like spicy.
Of the ones that we're going to do, I think this is one of the lower spice ones.
Yeah.
Lower spice.
This is
Yeah.
Codex compliant spice to me.
Codex compliance spice.
All right. Well, we'll stick it in mild then.
Yeah.
I was going to say no spice because some of it's good. Don't get me wrong, but like in the scale of what we're dealing with, like I think it's not
pretty
spicy.
vanilla.
Oh wow, Jack's thought about scale, guys. I'm impressed. All right, next one we're going to
Scovilles, that's what he's scaling in.
yeah. So next one we're looking at is strategic retreat. So the stratagem is at the start of your shooting phase, one or more units from your army, excluding vehicles and monsters, that is not within engagement range, can be picked up and put into strategic reserves at the start of your shooting phase.
This is
The
the
mission.
worst card.
The mission is basically have stuff in places. So you get 1 victory point at the end of your turn for every unit you have in your deployment zone, 6 inches from the center of the battlefield, no man's land, and your opponent's deployment zone.
This is a terrible card. This is like if you're playing for challenger cards and you draw this, you're like, I'm a moron. What was Jack talking about? Why was he doing this? Why did he convince me to do this?
3 units doing things.
One in the middle, one in your opponent's deployment zone. It's 2 units you're giving up for 2 points. It's like, that's terrible. And the timing on the strategic retreat makes it really just useless. Why would you want to take a unit away at the start of your shooting phase? That's just terrible.
A unit that's fallen back that can't shoot or charge.
I guess.
That's the only time I can think of, right?
Thing is, a lot of the time, like for me anyway, when that happens, it's I have a unit on an objective and they fall back and remain on the objective, but like just not in combat most of the time when I do that. So I don't know. This is not great.
The up down at the start of the shooting. Actually, no, it's not. No, it's not because it doesn't come until next turn.
Wholly within, Celestine. Sorry, I had a question in the chat. Are the units wholly within? The units are wholly within.
Yeah, because I don't think you can have one unit that can be wholly within 6 of the center of the battlefield, your deployment zone, and the enemy's deployment zone. So.
And it scores 1 per unit anyway. So a unit, even if it was able to be in 2 places, it's still only score 1 for being in one of the places.
So is this stone cold not spicy?
Yeah, I think so.
This is like my dish. My dish came cold. I'm afraid. Can you please send it back?
Yeah.
I ordered this on the app, and somehow you still fucked it up.
Yeah. All right. What about the next one, guys? I'm all in. So all in your fight phase. 1 unit from your army has not been selected to fight this phase. They can basically pile in and consolidate up to 6 inches instead of 3.
Yes.
And they do not need to end closer to the closest model, but just the unit needs to end up close to the closest enemy unit. So, Jank, ahoy. And then the mission is your shooting phase, 1 unit from your army, until the end of the turn. If that unit is 18 inches away from all enemy units, you score 3 victory points.
This is pretty spicy. This is one of those ones that if you draw it on the right turn and you have the right army, you can just like end the game on the spot. Which is going to yeah, it's gonna just totally ruin someone's day. And then the mission itself is like, it's good, it's not crazy good. So it's not a guarantee you're gonna be able to get it if you're not playing the right army. So maybe you don't feel so bad if you don't get the mission. So I think this is going to be a real feels bad for certain. If you're playing against knights and he gets a 6-inch, maybe that's a bad example. Some kind of unit that had like orcs, maybe they just get a random 6-inch consolidate out of nowhere, like that.
Anything Ed would play?
Or anything that Ed would play, yes. Then that could be pretty bad. So I think this is pretty spicy. I think this is spicy because it's not the worst one.
I personally would love this. There's some armies that I do not have access to 6-inch piling consolidate that I would just end. You could just end games with. Like if you just the right charge at the right time, I'm like, well, now I'm tagging everything important. Goodbye.
He's going to Edbutt them.
Yeah, Edbutt. I was thinking the same thing. I like that. Yeah, the Edbutt. John, are you a big fan of this one?
Yeah. Well, any way to make my abusive kind of aggressive combat units really, really pressuring up into people, I like. And again, like if you've got stuff that's in your home being really kind of defensive, just screening out your backfield, it might be 18 inches away from enemy models. Yeah. I think it's achievable. I like that it doesn't feel overpowered, but it feels like it is at least some sort of a catch-up, which is what they're supposed to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So what do we think? Spicy? Extra spicy?
I think extra spicy. This is amazing.
I think this is spicy, personally, because I think there's even crazier ones later on. But I'm happy for it to go in there.
Maybe this is one of them. This is Harbored Power. So the stratagem is essentially you're shooting on your fight phase, the unit that is about to shoot or fight, and you can give them hazardous and your choice of lethal or sustained.
Look, I have the stratagem. Let me tell you right now, don't use it. It's a trap.
It's a trap. Hazardous is a trap.
No, I mean keep going, but yeah.
All right, and then the mission is for each objective marker you control, you get 1 victory point up to a maximum of 3 for every objective you control.
Guys.
We're gonna give one person each one of these just because of time. So we'll start with Ed. Oh, sorry, start with John. John, what do you reckon to that one?
Yeah, 3 points for being on 3 objectives. Cool. Right. Pretty straightforward. And
how spicy do you think that is? How spicy do you think that is?
I think it's actually kind of spicy because it's a surprisingly easy one that if you're playing the game and still in the game, you're just getting the 3 points. Like,
yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. Cool. All right, next one, Force of Breach. Now, I like this one. So Force of Breach, in your movement phase, you basically pick a unit. Any unit can be a monster or vehicle, and it can make a normal or advanced move horizontally through models and terrain features. Unfortunately, not the charge phase as well. That would have been amazing. And then the mission is that in your shooting phase, 1 unit from your army that is not within your deployment zone and wholly within 9 inches of one or more battlefield edges, as Jack mentioned before, is this the spiritual successor to Containment? And you get 3 points for that. Jack, what do you reckon? Do you think that's powerful?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably the most extra spicy one there is. Just because I think what's going to end up happening is someone's going to become the challenger. They're just going to randomly draw this, and they're just going to ruin someone's day because they've planned all their movement around certain things being able to reach certain places. It's just gonna ruin days. And I don't think that's a good thing. The mission is a very easy 3 points, as we know. For Containment, it's even easier than original Containment because you don't need 2 units to do it. And yeah, it's just going to be like, oh, I draw this card, you lose 2 units because Morven Vile's running through a wall, as Paint Celestine says, or
yeah, that is pretty cool.
Or this Sunforge unit is coming through a wall, or Angron is coming through a wall, or Gritting Claymore.
These are all things that scare me, Jack.
Yeah, like any number of things that you have probably planned around not coming through a wall. Because the worst thing is you're gonna have to be like, well, I know my opponent's is the challenger this turn, so they may draw that card. So I have to assume that this is going to come through a wall this turn, and it's just going to be a nightmare. Or you can just not play around it and get sad when you don't.
I think you just not play around and get sad.
Yeah, which is...
The chances, the chances aren't that slim if you know you're going to be 6 points ahead, but it's so hard to know that.
Well, I mean, the thing is, the challenger is determined at the start of the battle round.
Mhm.
So if you're going second, you know you're the challenger that round. So
Hmm.
Yeah, true.
you can just be like, well, I might get it, I might not.
But-
You know,
So, Jack, I'm guessing by what you're saying here, this is not spicy at all, right?
this is extra spicy.
This is extra spicy. Forcing it like spicy food, it's forcing a breach. All right. Great haste. Ed, let me tell you about this one. In your movement phase, one unit from your army that has not been selected to move this phase gets to just advance 6 inches.
D6.
Add D6 to the movement characteristic, and then you get to advance, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can advance and you add D6. Fine. Okay, sorry. Apologies. I should read. And the mission is one or more units from your army that is excluding aircraft and battleshock units are within your opponent's deployment zone. It's behind enemy lines, but not behind enemy lines. What do you think of that, Ed?
I think you effectively double advancing a unit. If you've got a unit with advance and charge, it's pretty rough.
You Magnus the unit.
Yeah, well, if they say if you just go, oh, may as well just move. I'll add D6 to this movement, the model cap movement of this unit, and if they're all a 6, then like, oh, they'll advance and charge. It's like, why not, right? You know, I think that can definitely. Again, it's one of those things where you plan around it. Like, say, if it's also got like a really big combat threat which you can advance and charge, and moves like 8. Suddenly you're like, well, that could move 20 inches.
Yeah, I think Commander Dante can charge your dog at home.
Yeah. And the actual mission itself is just behind the lines. So, I mean, I feel like most of the time when you draw this, or maybe if you're a challenger, this might just be wrong, but I feel like at some point if you draw this, you're probably going to be using the D6 move instead, because unless you're perfectly set up to be able to get something behind the lines, but also 3 points is 3 points. So if you can do it, then great. But also the actual strat itself is actually pretty good as well. So I think it's cool. So I think this is probably going to sit in the region of, I'd say spicy, being in the combat player mindset, just because I'm like the threat range this can project is very, very good, and for some armies the mission is also very achievable. Like, if you've got a unit that can just move 30 inches and chill.
It's also advance and charge if you don't have advance and charge access.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then the mission is like, some armies are going to score it really easily, some armies aren't. Like, I don't like this one because this is very much some armies are going to love it, and some armies is going to be completely useless for both mission and stratagem. But
that's fair. I like it because it'll be good for my armies. So
I'm a fan. I think there's times. How many games have you been in where you're just in a stalemate? You've got advantage charge, or your opponent's got advantage charge. You're just kind of staring at each other, making charges difficult for each other, and then you go, "Well, I'm just going to roll this dice and see what I get."
Yeah. Like, I rolled a 6. Yay!
Now I'm
Centurions, boys. That's what I'm saying.
I moved 12 this turn.
It's also the fact that it's also advance and shoot, right? Effectively.
Slow moving stuff like Centurions that currently that's their big weakness. Suddenly they could go 10. It's scary.
Well, this one should maybe have been. I mean, the last one feels like a bit of a burst of speed, but this one is called burst of speed instead, John. This one is a stratagem at the end of your shooting phase. One unit from your army, excluding units that have made a move this phase. Your unit can make a normal move up to D6 and cannot move again this phase. They were like, we don't want you to abuse this. Please don't abuse this. And then the mission is at the end of your turn, 2 or more units. All right, okay, this is the funny one. 2 or more units from your army made 1 or more attacks against the same enemy unit this turn. And models in that enemy unit lost 1 or more wounds as a result of any of those attacks.
Mission is really good.
Yeah.
And I think Big Old Jim in the chat caught it, is that you can deep strike a unit, D6 inch move them, and then charge.
Ooh.
Which is, unless there's something in the card.
And then cannot move again this phase. So this phase is shooting phase. There's nothing stopping you charging.
Exactly.
I think that'll get clarified. That's going to get clarified early on, isn't it?
So this is one of those ones where it may just be another, like, well, guess I'm just fucked then, kind of cards. But the mission is also really good, so it may just be one that you don't use the stratagem on very often.
Yeah.
But
you can't move after a deep strike.
For you as a shooty player, yeah.
You can't move after a deep strike, apparently. That's what Payne Celestine said, and I think that's right.
You
Ooh.
just can't in the same phase.
yeah, Payne Celestine doesn't know rules. What's he talking about?
It sounds like it's right.
I know you can.
that would be logical.
I'm pretty sure you can use Torch Star Gambit after deep striking anyway, so I'm pretty sure you can move in a different phase.
Yeah, I mean, gargoyles can fire and fade.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's
John,
true.
where are we putting that spicy old meatball?
I think it's incredibly spicy.
That's stealth spicy, right? That's
Yeah.
like you didn't know it was going to be spicy, but turns out it is.
It's fine until 5 minutes later you're there going, "Where's the milk?"
Yeah.
Oh, my Trigon. Oh, I can't deep strike 6 and then move D6. Sorry, John, carry on. Where do you think? Spicy, extra spicy?
Extra spicy, because I think there's going to be times where it's just both sides, but more so the speed, the burst of speed. I feel like there's going to be situations where it just feels badsy, and I can't wait to do it to Sam in the chat.
Yeah.
Because that's how it
Poor Sam. Poor Sam. All right, guys, we've got 2 left. We need a renewed focus is the name of this one. The stratagem is your shooting phase or the fight phase. 1 unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight this phase until the end of the phase, Jack. Each time a model or unit makes an attack, you reroll 1s to hit and 1s to wound. And then the mission is, in your shooting phase, 1 unit from your army that is more than 15 inches away from all other units in your army. You score 3 victory points.
I mean, you might use a stratagem if you physically can't do the 15 inches away thing, but I think I can't see a way you would choose the stratagem over the mission, because yeah, it's just not that good of a buff. No
Once to hit and once to wound, man. Like, I don't know.
Some armies would love that though, right?
Sure, but it's just I would rather have 3 points in any situation.
100%.
Like real hit and wound of 1 is great for sure. It's not worth 3 points, and I think unfortunately some people may just be like see red and take that.
I guess there's times where if you have to rely on like an uppy downy unit to try to get the 15 away, but they've screened you out and there's not a place to drop them.
Yeah, that you use it if
those
you physically
situations,
can't.
right?
Yeah. To answer Paint Celestia in the chat, Jack, are you going to internal grenade rack bomb people with your burst speed? No, because I'm going to spend all my CP on CP redraw cards. Is the answer to that question.
Very good, very good. Jack, where are we putting where are we putting renewed focus?
Put it in mild.
Oh, thank you. You did me a favour there.
It's alright.
I was trying to
Working together on this one.
And this is the last challenger card, so it's quite a pivotal moment. Ed, pivotal moment. The have you not seen I've been doing that every single time?
Yeah, I know it.
But I'm just still finding it funny because I'm an idiot.
So the stratagem here, Ed, your movement phase, 1 unit from your army until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced or fell back. That's 0 CP for you, good sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, so good, right? The mission is 1 or more enemy units were destroyed this turn, you get 3 points.
Oh Lord, that's not hard, especially if you've got. It depends on when you draw it, right? But like, I feel like a lot of the times you're gonna be able to destroy 1 enemy unit for 3 points. So I feel like that's gonna be your pick most of the time because 3 points is 3 points, unless of course you just have this unit that you really need to get. You can advance and charge, and it'll be mental. Like I think there's situations where an advance and charge in the right place can give you more than 3 points or create more of a differential than 3 points will give you. So I think this one's interesting is because you could do either or throughout, and there's probably like sometimes one's better, sometimes the other. I think this one's a little bit more balanced rather than other ones where it's like, sure, I can use this stratagem, but the 3 points is always better. But there are times where I'm like, well, if I can get advance and charge in the right place at the right time, that'll give me more points than 3, or deny more points than 3 for my opponent, or swing the game in a more positive way. Maybe the advance and charge which you can get deny a primary or something. So I can see this being good both ways. So I really like this. To be fair, it's
this is another one of those ones where it's like you've activated my trap card, haha. It's almost like people are being forced into gotchaing people, right? Like, I actually have an advance and charge, and you didn't know about it, and it's okay, cool, great, fantastic. There's like 3 of those in this deck that there's
It's also like carry on.
Don't get me wrong, like advance and charge or fallback and charge again. It's like they're ones that can completely change the game. if it comes down to it. Like if you pull it at that perfect moment. But again, like it's a pretty easy as well.
Yeah, it's also like tagging a unit that can't normally shoot. Let's say, like there's a Thousand Suns unit that you've tagged with an Infernal Master. Suddenly they can't shoot. Yes, amazing. Oh, they can fall back and shoot. Oh,
Yeah.
I've just
Oh,
lost all this. Oh no.
yeah. Oh, the whole unit of 10 Wolfen's gone now. Oops.
Yeah. That I can see that being an issue throughout. But the thing is, one thing I like about these challenger cards is I feel like everyone knows what they're getting themselves into because everyone knows anyone can get them if they are the challenger. But that's where the issue comes in, where you can manipulate cards to try and get it, which is annoying.
Yeah.
But,
It's now a good time to talk about my issues with it, because I think that's the last
Well,
card.
let's just right. We'll do that very quickly. Ed, where would you like to stick it into the spice?
I'll put that in spicy. Spicy. I like spicy. I'd love to put it in mild for you to make it look balanced, but it's just not mild, is it?
No, it's definitely not. But what is interesting about this, and I think it will probably lean into Jack's, I assume, rant that's about to come up. No, I'm only kidding. But a lot of these are spicier than not spicy, right? A lot of these are going to have an impact. They're going to have an opinion. They're going to have some really interesting things happening in the game. I was actually going to ask everyone for their top line opinions of it, but let's start with Jack because he's raring to go here.
So I think, I do think these should be in the game. I'm just worried because I think we should definitely try stuff before we just like. Well, I think this is something that we should try before we just throw it out. But I am concerned that there's going to be a lot of really big feels bads, and there's going to be games won and lost off of cards being drawn at the wrong time. And in addition, these cards are so much better. They're like 5 times better if you're going second, because the challenger is determined at the start of the battle round. So from start of turn 2, if you're 6 points down, which you can choose to be essentially, if your opponent gets like, extend and cleanse, and they get 8 points, you can just be like, I'll just take a 2 or I just won't score my secondaries or something, for this one turn. And then all of a sudden you have these cards that you can draw and be, that's just very powerful, right? Because you're going to be the challenger in your turn, and you have the ability to control how much you score to determine if you're the challenger in the next turn as well. So it gives you all the agency is with the player who's going second, which I don't think is necessarily a good thing. And the other problem it creates is with going fixed. So if you choose fixed and you're like, some of the fixed ones, you look at them and you're like, well, I'm not going to go there because I'm not going to score 20 points, right? So you might be like, I'm only going to get 12 or 16 on Storm. So I'm not going to take Storm, or I'm only going to get tagged in combat, so I'm only going to get 2 on cleanse in some of these turns, or 0 on cleanse in some of these turns. But even if you're only going to score like 12 to 14 on these cards, that doesn't matter because you have the extra points that you can get from the
challenger card.
Yeah, from the challenger cards, right? So that can shore up because there's 112 points you can score in a game, but you're capped at 90, right? So because the challenger cards add in addition, there's a separate pool to the secondaries and primaries. So like you can, if you go fixed, right, you have a complete control over how many points you're scoring. Like if you go second, and you can determine whether you're the whether you're the challenger each turn, and you can just control it all. Which if you're a really good player, if you're a really high skill level player, or if you're playing an army that like Eldar that has a lot of control on the movement phase and has a lot of is very strong at scoring secondaries in general, like I think you're going to have a lot of ways to shut people out, and I think there's going to be a lot of people scoring 100 points in these games, and a lot of people who think that they just feel like there isn't much that they can do.
That's really interesting. That is a super interesting take, actually.
It is my concern.
I've never thought about that, to be fair.
Yeah, so hopefully it doesn't come out that way. Hopefully it just doesn't work out, and if you're trying to do that, you end up too far behind, and maybe I'm just talking rubbish. That would be a great way to be in this case.
No, fair enough.
I do think the game's higher scoring in general, which I'm a fan of, but I'm just a little bit apprehensive about the way the challenger cards are working. but I think we've got to see them in play to know how they work. In this case, it's not something that's super obvious how it's going to play out.
Ed, what do you reckon to that?
I think I can see the concerns that would come up with the fixed thing, but I've watched a few games with these challenger cards, and I'll be honest, I've seen one once where more you move through a wall and it flipped one primary point. But from in a team's perspective, that meant like it was like a 13-7 rather than 12-8 or something, and that's basically the most impactful it got. I mean, it kind of like means that the person who's being the challenger card can't be behind the entire game and then just go 100 points at the end, because I think that's a lot harder than you expect, because these challenger cards are also random. Like you could all, if you're planning the entire thing by going, I'm going to be 6 points behind and I'll score 3 points on the challenge card, then suddenly you don't. And suddenly it's a stratagem that's just not useful to you, or anything like, you can't redraw them, right? It's not like your second report card. You can't just be like, oh, I don't like that, I'm going to get another one. You're sort of putting a lot of, emphasis on trying to score points through challenger cards that may or may not actually pull through for you, or trying to get a really good challenge card that will do something for you that you might not get. Because not every army is going to be in a situation where every one of these challenger cards are going to be amazing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, sure, if you draw the advance and charge one for a combat army, then great. But there's other ones where it's just like, oh, have everything 18 inches away, have a unit 18 inches away, and then you get it. Which, if you're not positioned to do, might not work. So I think I need to see it more in practice first, but I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be fine. That's what my gut instinct is telling me. It's going to be okay, and that's where I'm at so far.
I think for armies like, for example, Guard or the other less dynamic armies, like movement-wise, like Death Guard, they may have issues like doing that, like relying on the random draws. But then there's armies like Eldar, which are going to find it really easy to score these missions, or even Tyranids actually, who find it quite easy to score these missions a lot of the time. And it may just be like Eldar's going to walk up and score 100 points and without really, almost without interacting with you. It was my concern.
We'll see.
I can see the concern. I just don't think it's going to be as bad as that. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think it will be, because you're leaving too much to chance. And also, you have to be consistently 6 points behind. Do you know what I mean? So if you're going to score 100 and you're 6 points behind on turn 5, you're probably not going to be scoring 100, right? Like, I don't know. Like, it feels like the game has to be too close throughout the entire situation for you to just win so convincingly throughout the entire game.
It is really interesting, though. I agree. I think I'm kind of on board with that, because I agree that I think it's not going to be as impactful. The scoring is not going to be as impactful. I don't think it's necessarily going to be. I don't think we'll see high levels of play of people manipulating cards too much. But I also agree that it's very interesting, Jack, the point you made, that actually you can score 112 points, but the max you can score is 90, essentially, right? Well, actually, it's 102 points the max you can score because 10's painted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, that's another 12 points. How many games have people scored 88 points or whatever, right? Like it's gonna end up with more hundreds for certain. So I think that there's a bit of truth to both. John, what do you reckon to these changes, mate? To these challenger cards?
So to me, it just creates this weird element of chaos that I don't think they've probably foreseen some of the weird combinations, because people are going to pick up like fallback, advance, and charge on something that's not ever been designed to have that in its toolkit and doing something absolutely bonkers. And there'll be one game where it's absolutely crazy, but then it won't happen again. So I'm excited to see what weird shenanigans happen, but equally, as we've based on our scoring there, those 3 cards in turn 2, 3, and 4. Your opponent could be behind, and they could draw those 3, and it'd be like, cool. I don't know. Like the other guys have said, I feel like I need to see it and get a judgment on it, because yes, I think games are going to be a lot closer, and I think for something like Teams format, it's going to really be an encouragement for people to take lists that just literally go, if I'm going first, I fucking shove this down your throat, I screen you in, push you and pin you in, so you can't do anything. Yes, you're behind, but you're going to be so far behind, it doesn't matter if you're getting a catch-up mechanic, because you're in your deployment zone. Yeah. And I feel like it's just going to encourage people to be that much more aggressive, especially in teams. So
here's a hypothetical then. Yeah. So let's say you're playing Scorched or Supply Drop, and you're going second. You know you're going to get a huge score at the end, right? 15 points on Supply Drop, or 15 on Scorched. So you can let your opponent go up 5. Like you can score at 5, they can score at 10, and then you just have to be 1 point down on secondaries. If you end the game with 28 points on secondaries, if you've managed to score the 3-point secondary every round, then you can be back at 100. And then similarly, Like you can, like. Like you don't have to drop many points, I guess is what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
you
No,
can
I
drop
get that.
you can drop a lot of points and still get cards, and then while you're doing that, you don't have to risk getting behind enemy lines that you can't score, and your opponent has to think, oh my god, they could draw advance and charge at any turn, they could go through a wall at any turn. Like I don't know what It makes it really unpredictable for the person going first, and then you also have the primary scoring advantage of going second.
No.
So
Yeah.
just
Out of
fears,
interest,
I
Jack,
guess.
is your game on Thursday on the TTS live stream? Is that going to be using the new pack, or is it going to be using Pariah Nexus?
That's an excellent question.
Do it.
TBC, guys. I'm not going to put him on the spot. But watch
Tell you
this
what,
space. There might or might not be.
if TTS is updated, then we'll use it.
It has
the
updated.
new card's already in there.
Let's send it. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's send it, boys. Right, so that is a great way to end the show. So if you want to see one of these games in action and see all the wonderful theory that these three lovely chaps below me have just been discussing, join that show and come and watch us play. Guys, thank you so much for watching this marathon episode. I think we've got through a lot. We've got a very pretty picture on screen right now, but I think it's time for us all to go to bed. So have a good night, and we will catch you next week.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.